thank you so much for making some time for us. I know you got a lot of personal stuff going on right now, and appreciate you carving out the time to spend with our community. And really excited. I've learned so much from you in our relationship so far, and hopefully I get to help share you with the masses.
Thanks, man.
And yeah, happy to be connected with you and do this. So real quick, just can you give a quick 2-minute overview of where you're at, what you're doing, and who Mark Fisher is?
Yeah, I guess the quickie overview is my name is Mark Fisher, and I own 2 very eccentric fitness studios here in New York City called Mark Fisher Fitness, which is not a particularly interesting name, but it is a place full of shenanigans. So our tagline is ridiculous humans, serious fitness. And it really sums up the place, because we are at heart very rigorous nerds about best practices of training and nutrition, but we just like to cover it up with a delicious chocolate swirl of existential madness. So we don't call our members clients, we call them ninjas. If you're familiar with MFF, we don't like the term gym. We call it the enchanted ninja clubhouses of glory and dreams. Our mascot is the unicorn. So it's just very quirky, colorful, 3-year-old eating psychedelic and then getting weird kind of space. And then in addition to that, I spend a lot of my time with my other company, Business for Unicorns, which I have with my MFF business partner and my non-sexual life partner, Michael Keeler. And under that banner, we speak and offer courses and coaching on topics like organizational culture, customer service, building a team, time management, etc.
Awesome.
And that is my spiel.
Hey, you've done that before. You're well back.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, thank you. I do have a lot of external feedback because I grew up in an emotionally insecure household. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Hey, but at least now it's giving you all this platform to really
That's true. You're right. My desperate desire to be like is working really great for me. It's working out.
Right? I love, maybe another time we'll talk about the gym culture and everything else, but I think that what I want to share with everybody right now is everything that you do with Business for Unicorns. And I find that there's so many courses out there right now really focused around teaching hinge mechanics and squat mechanics and kettlebells and clubs and maces and mobility, and they're amazing. There's a lot of
rightfully so, yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think you and I are both on this page to where a lot of people's success in this industry is less about how much they know about insertion points and naming muscles and bones, and more so about how you deliver an experience to your clients to help them be able to get the best out of their time. Yeah. And I think that's such an not valued, but an underutilized effort system for people in this industry that I think a lot of people really can take some great lessons from. And you guys have done it so well. Like, it's not that you came and had these professional athletes building your name, or like you've had to start from scratch, and you built an amazing culture, and now you're sharing this knowledge with everybody. And so if you guys don't know Mark is maybe the most productive human in the world, or at least right up there with the Warren Buffetts of the world in terms of productivity and managing their time. And I really appreciate that you're really able to not only like really be an executive and a leader in this industry, and as well as for your own business, but you still go out and have a good time, you travel, you just got married, you got a dog, and so it's like you balance. And so many people in this industry have a hard time finding the balance. So for you, when you start looking at whether it's online or in-person delivery of an experience, what do you feel's one of the most important elements to finding a successful community or building a successful community?
You're talking specifically about how to make sure that your experience you're creating as a trainer is compelling.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I mean, I wish I had like just do this thing, or
Sure.
But I'm certainly happy to share some things that come to mind. I do think that, quite frankly, to your initial point, I think that emotional intelligence is highly underrated, and I think really cultivating the ability to meet people where they're at and build genuine friendships that come out of a place of genuinely, obviously, caring about someone, being genuinely interested in them, not just in a theoretical sense, but like actually doing that. And it's interesting that I think there's all sorts of ways one can approach that. I think certainly the book people tend to recommend along those lines, which is a classic, How to Win Friends and Influence Them and Get Them to Sign up for your email list and ultimately manipulate them so they buy your products. I think that is a good book to read, and I think there's a lot of very valuable, just kidding, Dale Carnegie, chill out, but I think your stuff is great. I do think there actually is a lot of really valuable stuff in that book, because I think getting good at developing friendships is not only a learnable skill, but to me, I think it's just a good way to spend your time as a human being. So I think like that's valuable. And I think the industry at large is starting to really coming to understand that beyond even just creating a good customer service experience, but if you're looking to have success with helping, supporting people and creating new habits, whether it be in Gen Pop or athletic populations, the soft skills do matter. And furthermore, the soft skills can be made to some extent hard. There are techniques we know, and the gamut, that landscape includes everything from motivational interviewing that a lot of people are familiar with, certainly the work that Precision Nutrition has done. I think Brett Bartholomew is doing some interesting stuff. I know my mother, Mike Bledsoe, is diving into this. Even at Business for Unicorns, I'll tell you what was very interesting for us this past year. One of the courses that to be clear, I didn't think this course was a throwaway, but I didn't think I was like, is anyone going to want to do this? Like, was our coaching conversations course. So that was a course which really goes deep into the methodology of coaching conversations, which serves, again, two purposes. Number one, it is a way of building meaningful relationships with people. Because I always say community is built when you talk about the things that really matter to you to people that actually care. And there are techniques one can learn to get better at that if it's in your value set for that to be something you think is important. But again, beyond the just building the friendship and creating a great experience and creating a community or creating a cult, which certainly, I'm never shy about, like that's always my dream.
Yeah.
But really helping support people in making behavior change for the long haul, that stuff really, really matters. So I'm personally very inspired and feel very grateful that I think the industry is really coming into that, and was really pleasantly surprised because the feedback we got about that course, which to be clear, I didn't even run, it was totally Michael, which I had nothing to do with, so I can't get any credit for it, was like incredible. People, I think the industry is really ready to ripe to dive into that. And it's exciting because not only will we get better results to our clients and create better experiences, but also if you just care about getting people better results, that's going to work too. Like you will make more money, you will help more people, and your life will be more fun. You get all the things.
Was that the course you just did in Vegas?
That course actually was another iteration of Time Ninja, which is our time management course, which we'll be doing actually in New York here in 2 days. So that was a different course. But even that course, I think that's part of what we're exploring in Biz for Unicorns is we observe without judgment that a lot of business trainings tend to be, and I don't mean this like in a negative way, but they tend to be very like brain dumping. Like you get a lot of information, like go figure it out. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that. I've certainly personally feel lucky. I don't learn, I actually learn okay like that. Like give me 2 days and just have people talk to me while I sit and don't move. Well, guess what? For me, that's a real joy. I'm a nerdy nerd. But I have found like, particularly people in the fitness industry, when they just like sit there for long periods, it's not always as helpful as if we work with people over time to help contextualize them and apply even in our business courses and trainings the things that many of our more progressive practitioners are doing with fitness, right? Which is to say, instead of like, hey, here's your macros, change your whole life, like learn how to cook, eat lots of chicken breast, work out 5 times a week. If it's like, nope, for this week, we're just gonna focus on keeping your desk clean. For this week, we're just gonna focus on, I want you to get to inbox 0. We wanna right size the habit. Maybe it's once a day, maybe it's twice a day. We just want to begin to make better friends with your inbox than did last week. The goal is not perfection. It's not to throw out what we're doing. The goal is to find the right level of challenge for you that you believe you have a 90% confidence that you'll be able to accomplish.
So what you're saying is the whole meet people where they're at strategy that the trainers are implementing with their clients and helping them be successful, you're doing the same exact thing with them and their businesses.
We're certainly trying, and I'm the first to admit, we're really in year 2 of it, and our main delivery system beyond the courses, which was also like one of those classic, like, sure, people are asking for it, I guess we'll do it, and then of course wound up being the main thing, is the Unicorn Society, and that is our year-long coaching group, mostly fitness business owners, because the thing it's worth probably sharing aloud is the Biz for Unicorns isn't explicitly fitness at all. So the courses themselves, if you read our blog posts or if you look at the courses, and if you come to the courses, it's going to be like a mixed crowd. You'll have a lot of people from different industries in there because the skills of time management or customer service, even coaching conversations are broadly applicable across industries. However, it's also no secret. Listen, we're in the fitness field. Like we've got like a kind of our arms around it. And And also because we are, I'm like such like a long-term relationshipy person.
Mm-hmm.
Like MFF doesn't even try where I'm like, you can marry me and divorce me if you don't like me. Like we're not even going on a date. I'm just gonna go get married. So the unicorn side has been really satisfying to build those long-term relationships with people. And we are, fortunate, I think, in that we have, I think, Summer MFF, by being clear about who we are, I believe we've attracted and self-selected people that really kind of share our values and are really down for that. And also really like some sophisticated owner-operators and ones that are also very savvy and really helpful for Michael and I to continue to grow and develop, because they'll let us know if and Michael and I think this, and this is probably a good takeaway for anybody listening, no matter what field you're in, just being aggressive about asking for feedback. And I'm very lucky I got Michael to do it, because Michael is just like, we never do anything that we're not constantly surveying. We're looking for number data. We're looking for subjective feedback. We're just asking people. And then we're just, learning and trying to grow and move in the direction of what people think will be valuable.
Yeah. How often do you guys survey the ninjas at MFF?
Every week. So at MFF, wow. We have a number of different feedback mechanisms. And I'll share this because, again, I think this is a master skill. So even if you're just a random office manager that stumbled onto this live, this will be useful for you. So things that we do at MFF, we do weekly surveys of the ninjas. And what we figured out to do, how we do that, and we're lucky because we have enough ninjas, at any given moment we're dealing with, around 700, 800, 900 people. So every week we email 1/13 of the ninjas. So what this means is, if you do the math of it, means people get an email about every 3 months. So it means individual ninjas aren't constantly getting barraged, right? Because when you're asking somebody for feedback, you're asking for a favor. Like famously, I never give feedback because I just don't care enough. If I give you feedback and you ask me for feedback and I give you feedback, I really care about you. And part of that, because it's just like not my brain. I'm not somebody who's always looking around being like, well, this sucks. That could be better. This is terrible, right? I'm just kind of like, oh, this is really good. Oh, I like what you did with this thing. So we ask for that favor once every 3 months for ninjas. And it's a pretty simple form. I think another feedback best practice is don't be onerous. So it's really, I think it's 5 or 6 questions on a scale of 1 to 10 and an open-ended subjective field. But beyond that, we also, every time we finish a round of Snatched, we ask for feedback about that round of Snatched. We have a suggestion box, which if you have a brick and mortar, highly underrated, having an analog, you can write it in that moment where you're excited or that moment where you're mad about what you did. We won't care. You won't hurt our feelings. Just even if it's anonymous, I don't care. Just write it down. And then internally, we also have something called the glows and grows system. Glows are when someone exceeds expectations. Everybody on the team gets that email and we celebrate. We're like, so-and-so did this thing. It was amazing. And grows are missed expectations. So if we're having an informal conversation with a ninja, maybe they haven't filled out the survey form, maybe they didn't write in the subject box, but they express a disappointment or missed expectation of some kind, the team member then will fill out a form that, again, the whole team gets. So those 3 fishing poles, if you will, allow us not only to aggregate a lot of feedback, but also, importantly, get enough of it that we can sift through the difference between the signal and the noise. I think one of my favorite feedback concepts from Seth Godin is, and this is so true, and I have been guilty of this, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It is easy to confuse volume and proximity for accuracy. And just because somebody is in your face and they're very emotionally loaded about the thing, you might feel, certainly if you're someone like me who has a very porous limbic system, if you're someone like me, you might be like, oh, they're mad, it's bad, we messed up, it's bad. But if you're not careful, sometimes, number one, that individual is like not correct. They're just kind of having a bad day, or what you made, it's not for them. You made a thing, it's just not for them. However, even more terrifyingly to me as a business owner are the insidious small things that people are mentioning over and over, but very politely and very sotto voce, very softly. So we have found that aggregating those systems help us get clearer at knowing what is actually true so that we can make good decisions about what to do about what is actually true.
That's really interesting. A lot of the TrueCoach audience, a lot of people are still split. They're doing part-time in person, part-time online. And I think it's, to be able to go out and get that feedback, I think is so powerful. And it's something that I don't think about, because I'm like, oh yeah, that was a great session. I feel really good about it. And I think they walked away smiling, but maybe there was something I did that they didn't like, or maybe there was an experience, a part of the gym, right? And I think it's even harder when it's your relationship's entirely digital, right? Because then you can't really read body language, right? Do you have any suggestions for coaches who work with people online about how to manage these relationships and be able to provide this?
Oh my gosh, 100%. I think you make a great point. It's probably both harder and more important to have some sort of feedback systems built in your business. Now, as far as what they are, as always with any system, you want to scale the level of complexity to your existing bandwidth and the needs of your business. So what I just described is probably not appropriate for most businesses. Hopefully people can steal like what I call an acorn of greatness. Hopefully they can steal an acorn of greatness, and maybe they just do like one of those things, or they just decide maybe you're just going to once every 6 months, you just email everybody in your clientele base and you ask them 5 questions on a scale of 1 to 10 to get some feedback. In the online space, and again, I'm not saying this is necessarily it, but spitballing might be. So here's another example. So Mark Fisher Fitness obviously is mostly in person, but at the end of every program in our semi-private offering, we have a proprietary system we built out that asks for information. They ask for feedback at the end of every session. So we want to, first of all, make sure, are we clear on what your current goals are? Because maybe they've changed. And then we just like jump into it. Like what would you have changed about this last program? What would you like to have happen in this upcoming program? So I think even if it's as simple as that, like getting in the habit of maybe sending the email at the end of every program, asking for feedback and getting, and here's the other thing too that's worth sharing. A lot of people either aren't comfortable giving feedback. Some people like me, just like, I'm not thinking that much about it. I'm just kind of doing it, you know? So training the people you work with to feel comfortable, telling you what they want and coaching you on how they want to be coached is a highly underestimated master skill. But at the very least, honestly, the simple takeaway is if you just like ask people what's going on, that's like very different. I can't tell you how often I am a patron of all sorts of kinds of businesses, and I'm just fascinated. No one ever asks me like, how are you doing? How are we doing? What can we do to support you more? You know, like it's really interesting. And certainly some industries you do. If anyone ever here, I'm sure listening, if you ever get on an airplane or if you ever go to a hotel, I mean, certainly you're not going to find a big corporation or organization that's not constantly asking for it. But for understandable reasons, in smaller businesses and for people listening, they're doing their own thing as solopreneur, it's less common. And I really, that might be, if there's one takeaway you have from our little chat today, if you start doing that, not only will you be able to take better care of your clients, but understand deliberate practice is large an opportunity of getting feedback while you're at the edge of your ability. So it will not only allow you to have better customer service experience and demonstrate another way that you deeply care about the people that are working with you, it will give you useful information so you can continue your own path of Kaizen, of ceaseless and never-ending improvement as a practitioner.
Yeah. Now, I mean, you didn't know all this coming out of, your career.
I had no idea.
Like, you've had to learn all of this. How have you been able to not only intake all this knowledge, but then execute it amongst 30, 40, 50 employees, not only, across a couple different locations? Like, you've had to learn this yourself and deliver this. Where did all this information come from? Like, how did you get to this point?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I am a voracious reader. So I, as you know, like I read or audiobook like 2 to 3 books a week. Like I'm very compulsive, one might appropriately say. So that was part of it. I think an advantage certainly we had for me, again, was having a business partner. Michael came in and from day one, this was the thing he was really into, right? So from day one, Michael knew that this was something he wanted to make sure that we were asking. And honestly, it was very helpful because particularly, I always joke in the beginning. Well, I don't joke. This is actually literally true. In the beginning, Michael would hide the feedback from me because he knew that my ego, like a Fabergé egg, was fragile and would shatter on the ground in a million pieces if I heard what people were saying about me sometimes. So I got lucky because honestly, had I not have him push me into the pool, I probably would have been like, I suspect some people listening might be, because if you're somebody that feedback is very sensitive for you, that's normal. I understand. I really relate to you with that. There's an excellent book I'd recommend called Thanks for the Feedback. that will not necessarily give you, as like I think we talked about, maybe some very tactical takeaways for feedback in your business, regardless of the size of your fitness business. But thanks for the feedback, I think will give you a really beautiful overview of the psychology of receiving feedback. And certainly there's some takeaways for giving it, but that book is about receiving feedback. So at any rate, so I think like reading voraciously, Michael's help, and importantly, you know me, man. Like I just want to do good work. Like I as afraid as I am of hearing hurtful things, I will eat that poison every time if it's going to allow me to continue on my path and be more effective at serving the communities I feel called to serve.
Yeah,
but I still get scared.
For someone who doesn't necessarily like feedback necessarily, you didn't enjoy.
Well, I don't like negative feedback.
Right, but then to have such a unique culture to where you're like, it's not like you're just trying to match everybody else. Like you went out and like, we're gonna make MFF an entirely new experience because we want to change, and that definitely came with some negative feedback, I'm sure.
You know what? Honestly, I have to say, like from a brand perspective, and this is very normal. I think most people are like, how are you so courageous and willing to do that? And that's like a flattering question. I wish I could like be like, well, because I'm so courageous. But honestly, MFF, like as a brand, we haven't really gotten much pushback for that. And quite frankly, the negative feedback we do get from time to time is much more hurtful because it's not like, how dare you be weird and have unicorns? Because if somebody gave me feedback like that, I'd be like, okay, 10-year-old, like, okay, weirdo. They're like, you shouldn't be pink. You should be hardcore. I'm like, okay, buddy. You know, like that feedback wouldn't even like bother me at all because it's so surface. But, you know, like anywhere else as an organization, certainly me as a person, you know, we're not perfect. Sometimes we miss the mark or we drop balls, or sometimes we had great intentions and for whatever reason we just didn't meet what that person was looking for. But, you know, I don't know that there's any way around that if you truly seek the path of mastery. Any of it studies, you know, mastery, right? You read either Perfect Practice or Talent Code or Genius in All of Us or any of the books about how one truly develops high levels of skill in any human endeavor. There needs to be some opportunity where you're getting where you're doing deliberate practice, where you're getting feedback. And something like running a business, you know, is maybe a little bit more obtuse than I always think of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I was like a tennis protege with like the wise old tennis coach, like literally fucking Yoda is like helping me be better at tennis. But the reality is, honestly, even in a business, to some extent, you are getting feedback. Like, are people buying your thing? Do they like your thing? And if not, you know, if everybody's telling you that you're amazing and they just don't have enough money for it, you know, I'm still, at this point in my life and career, we take that as feedback, right? That's another, because even that too, another thing that is, invite people to do, and to scale this to the size of your business, when people are terminating with MFF, we really do our best to try to get clear on like, hey, like what was the one thing we could have done to keep you here, right? And we now even go so far as, since we know they're not always going to be like honest in that first conversation, we send a follow-up anonymous email like 2 weeks later asking again. So that way we give people the cover of anonymity if they don't want to tell us because they like us and they don't want to hurt our feelings. Because again, I don't want to sugarcoat this and make us sound like, oh, I don't mind when I get negative feedback. Like every time I'm sad. But again, I'd rather eat the poison pill and continue on the path.
Yeah. Now going through this journey of getting, you know, going out and getting this feedback, which I think is huge for a lot of these coaches who are doing online services. Where it's like, one day you have 5 clients and now all of a sudden you have 20 clients and then all of a sudden you have 1 client. Like, you know, it's like, oh shit, like it's not like you have people walking through your door every day to continue converting over. What do you feel that going out and searching for this feedback has contributed to your business? Could you give a percentage on that, or like a value, or how do you value that?
It's a good question. I think it's hard to put like a number on it. I mean, I will say, you know, and I can only speak to my experience here, right? But I think that businesses, you know, this is very like kind of corny, if you will, like Tony Robbins, like business lifestyle thing. But I think a lot of that stuff is true, right? I think MFF, had we not done that, I don't think anything could have stopped the shot out of cannon first 2 years of MFF. But I don't think we would have stayed like successful had we not been constantly working on it, right? Because it's like another, metaphor drawing any field of human achievement. Definitionally, the reason we have technique are for those days where we don't feel inspired, right? If you're a writer, some days you're just not, the muse is not speaking to you, right? And amateurs wait for the muse, right? Pros, you do the work, you do the work. So I think that, I can't put a number on it per se, but I think that, everybody is like nailing it when things are going really well. And I think one thing that I'm proud of, oh, you see me?
Yeah, it just broke, it just shook for a minute.
Great. Yeah, I think one thing that I am proud of is I'll say this, I think we never believed our own press. And we don't right now. And honestly, like, I know people say very nice things about MFF. Even honestly, when you're like introducing us, saying all these nice things, in my head, honestly, I'm like, yeah, but we're not great at this thing. I'm like, this sort of thing we're not doing very good at. I think we never like bought into the things that I think honestly a lot of people probably still say about us. And I think we've stayed hungry, right? And I think we've stayed humble, and we know that we try to set a mission and a standard for ourselves that we happily never quite meet. The divine discontentment, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, guys, I hope that if you guys are ever in New York, I would hope that you guys all get a chance to stop by MFF, because it's a magical experience. Because from the front desk person to the coaches, everybody's so welcoming. And if you can do that from an in-person business to an online business and create that feel, I think it's going to be massive for all of you. And I was really excited to have Mark here, so that way, because his courses, as we get back to it, is Business for Unicorns. There's so many unique offerings that I think would be so valuable for you guys to help nurture your online businesses, so that way you guys are able to help be successful. Because a lot of us get into the online space so that way we can, scale ourselves and actually be able to do things like go on a vacation or, not be tied to the gym. And so I know this doesn't seem like, well, learning about my business is going to help me, get away from it, because you think that learning a new technique or whatever skill or the steel mace or whatever is going to change. And to be honest, it's doing courses like managing your time better, going to Time Ninja, learning how to communicate with your clients better, understanding what kind of culture you're building. If you guys run brick and mortars or an in-person facility, the culture course, to being able to understand how to generate not only internally from your consumers, but to your coaches and the people that work for you and the people that work with you and support you, is a huge element to the success. And obviously the MFF team has been able to do, but it's more than just like a cool experience with a unique branding. It's this idea, this community, and this drive to be better and to always be of service. And I think that MFF and Mark, personify that more than anybody in this market, to be honest. And I hope that all of you, can go to these courses. So am I missing any courses? You got the coaching course, you've got the Time Ninja, and you've got
Time Ninja. Yeah, we have Clients for Life is our customer service course, which is everything from onboarding to the all-important retention, which of course never gets quite the, not as sexy, retain your clients, but wow, boy, is that a good thing to think about if you really want to grow the biz. Care and Feeding of Superheroes is our course about finding, recruiting, hiring, training, retaining, developing strong team members. And then Coaching Conversations is our course, which is our coaching methodology. And then we're actually going to be doing by popular demand, a sales and marketing course this year, where we'll be doing a little deep dive into sort of how MFF approaches that.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, really excited to come out, and I'm going to go out to some of the courses, guys, and give you guys a better rundown and blog and vlog and give you guys a better idea in terms of all that. Real quick, Mark, before we let you go, just kettlebell tricks. Hi. What is your number one advice to folks who have been in the fitness industry less than 5 years? What should they what should they focus on now to expand their outreach and their impact?
Wow. First of all, I want to acknowledge, I think oftentimes people are like, what's good advice for me? And I appreciate that was definitely more specific by clarifying you're in the industry less than 5 years. So first of all, good job trying to narrow that in and ask a question. Well done. With that said, unfortunately, being an annoying coaching guy, my first impulse is probably to ask more questions. So I will answer it, and the context I'm going to make up is, I assume being in the industry for less than 5 years means that it's more than a couple years, and means that you feel good and develop some proficiency with training. Because I think a point you've made a couple times, Sam, which I want to echo, is it's not just enough to be great at kettlebells and push-ups and deadlifts, but to be clear, we do want to be good at those things first, right? You do, like,
Yeah,
and probably
totally.
maybe not even first, maybe they can be a concurrent, do some concurrent periodization of your business and your training skills. But oftentimes, yeah, trainer's been around for a few years at that point. If you haven't already started digging into honestly the stuff we've been talking about today, which is both the business skills and the soft skills of coaching, I think that is utterly, utterly crucial. And the weird thing, this is a bizarre thing, I'll say I don't know if I believe this, I'll say this out loud. A theory I kind of have is the more the people listening are like, I'm not interested in this stuff, that's all dumb stuff. I just want to learn about deadlifts. Oh boy, you better stop taking courses about deadlifts. You're not going to grow your business by getting even more proficient about pulling different weights of chains to do accommodating resistance with Mrs. Rossini. You probably need to go take a marketing course or maybe a conversational course. And you're also saying, yeah, there might be some of you that are like, I am amazing at funnels. I am nailing my marketing. Like, I am like the ClickFunnels master. Okay, that is super cool. And I also think it would be great if you haven't already, like, follow Eric Cressy, follow Mike Robertson, follow Dan John, follow Mike Boyle, get really proficient in program design, learn the skills of training too. So we need to make sure we're doing all the things. And if you're listening, I assume you're taking time in the middle of the day, you high achiever, you're going to do all the things. I'm excited. Send me an email. I want to know how well you're doing.
Awesome. Mark, thank you so much for blessing us with some of your time. We really appreciate you and everything Business for Unicorns and MFF has done for the fitness industry. Guys, if you're ever in New York, go hit up Mark. Go check out one of the Business for Unicorns courses. Honestly, it's, I think, some of the best content you guys can learn from in the industry to grow your business. And just incredible friends and humans. I'm so happy to watch everybody start to become closer and closer and get to know, the rest of Mark's team as well. So thank you so much. I hope you have an amazing day. Tell Amanda and Raj I said hi.
I will.
I wish you an amazing, amazing rest of your evening.
Thanks, brother. Same to you.
Bye, guys.
Rob. Hi, friends.